Thank you, Ben. You can hear me there?
Mhm.
Good. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to SAR's October meeting. But look, before we start, I just thought to get in now because our last meeting will be November. And so just as a reminder, just in case anyone hasn't seen our notification that before next meeting, we'll be having our AGM at 6 o'clock before the start of the movie and we'll be at the Mechanics School of Arts, right, Ben? And so we'll be watching a Zoom of Greg Clare, but we will then, after the talk, then we'll have our bit of a Christmas drink and go across the road to the hotel like we normally do, okay? So I just thought I'd put that in as a reminder. Well, tonight it gives me great pleasure to introduce and welcome again Juliette Valentina. Juliette is a devoted astrologer and numerologist, known for her soulful and story-rich teaching style. With an Aquarian sun and Mercury in the 8th and a Pisces moon in the 9th, her journey has always been guided by a deep connection to the esoteric. Through her platform, Soul Weaving, Juliette brings together astrology and numerology, dreams and myths to help awaken our sacred gifts and to help us live soul-fed lives. So thank you. I'd like to now hand it over to Juliette and say welcome aboard. Thanks, Juliette.
Hello, thank you so much for that warm introduction.
Mhm.
I am feeling, as I said before, a little nervous about tonight, but I always feel nervous when I do public speaking. So I thank you
No
for,
problem.
especially those who are on the camera with me. That is so helpful to be able to see some beautiful faces smiling at me and engaging. I really appreciate you. If anyone else is able, I know sometimes we're just not able to, but if you are able to come on, that would be fabulous. Feeling a little bit nervous tonight because I'm wanting to talk about something that feels really important and really timely. But it's not as straightforward as teaching a technique or something like that, which feels like a much simpler container to bring. So let's just see how we go. There is a bit of a technique I'd like to share with you. To teach that technique in properly, it's a numerology technique, would take about 3 hours, and we don't have that time. So I'm going to hopefully share a little bit of that technique with you, for those who would like to be able to cast it yourselves. But I think the gist of the idea of what I'd love to talk about will not require a great technical base or understanding. So hopefully this will be of service to you. I'm hoping. So what I'd like, when I was thinking about an astrological technique to come and speak with you about, I just kept going back to the fact that we are numerologically in a really important cycle right now. And last month, like today is our first day of October, but last month in September of this year is a pretty rare configuration that we get once every 9 years. And so I really wanted to talk about this with you. One of my students was saying to me just recently, a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, she was saying that it's very interesting. It's very interesting when we understand what's unfolding in the world around us archetypally. Right? Because most people don't have that clarity. Most people can't look at the world around them and understand archetypally or symbolically what's unfolding. And so one of my students was commenting that she knew 2025 was going to be a big year because it's a 9 universal year. Now, she has studied the number 9 with me. A couple of years ago, she personally had a 9 personal year, which was an enormous year for her, as it tends to be for all of us when we have it. But this is her first time consciously being aware of watching the world in a 9 universal year. Now, She, as have all of us here tonight and everyone on the planet, like we have all experienced 9 universal years, right? So she had been through about four, I think, nine personal, 4 personal 9 years, and 4 universal 9 years. But this was her first time going through it consciously. And going through something consciously makes all the difference, because then we know what's being asked of us and we understand the patterns in play. Is this making sense? Like there's a difference between the ignorance is bliss idea and the idea that we consciously are aware of how it's archetypally playing out around us. And this is something that most people do not have access to. They don't understand the archetypal world and they don't understand the patterns that are playing out. And one of this ideas that I wanted to actually, when just finishing up with my student, she was musing, I wonder if there will be anything left in the world to start over by the time we get to our number 1 personal year next year, which is a big comment. But I think this is something that I would like for us to talk about tonight, is how we as astrologers and as numerologists are uniquely placed to serve our greater community, especially in times like this. Right? We have a distinct perspective on what's unfolding, and we have a distinct lens through which to understand what is happening, and therefore we have a distinct way of guiding and supporting those around us to make sense of the world. That's part of the gift that we bring to our community. Now, I think tonight there's probably 2 things in particular I'm highlighting, and that would be that we have a different understanding of the nature of time and consciousness than most people. And secondly, we have a distinct understanding of transits, the cyclical nature of transits in particular. We also have an understanding that we can experience transit simultaneously at a universal level, collective level, and at a personal level. And I think this is and perhaps we get so used to what we do that we forget that this is a distinct lens that we understand the world through. How is this landing? Is this making sense? Yeah. Okay. So do you guys all have access? You're all on your computers there, and do you have access to chat? Are you able to like just put things into chat for me?
Most people will be able to, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So I mean, I'm just pretty much just going to talk, and because I don't like to read from a script. I like to stay present in the moment with what's unfolding and how it's landing and with what's alive and dynamic. So I would like this to be very interactive. It's how I teach, it's how I best work. So what I'd like us to do, just for the moment, without wanting to get too into the doom and gloom, I would like just to be looking at what are the big things that we're seeing in the world right now. Can you just drop into chat for me? What are you seeing in the world right now? Like what's the big energies, the big stuff in play? Oh, thanks, Sassy. Conflict, denial of rights, human rights. Yes, the breakdown of government authority. We're seeing a seismic shift in the global world order. AI, yep. Anything else? People rising up, yes. Yes, the polarization, absolutely. Climate change, the weather patterns, yes. So having, and so therefore we have what, we used to term, or I think is still termed in the insurance, acts of God, these massive floods, these massive fires. Immigration, yeah. So the global issues, right? Fanaticism, yes, fanaticism, zealotry, ideological warfare. Anything else? Jenny's saying that the astrology and the animals communicating more. Oh, I'm curious about that. All right. So we've got this idea in the world right now where we're seeing holy wars, We're seeing genocide, martyrdom, what was just happening with Charlie Kirk. We've got the big ideological warfare, the humanitarian crisis. We have these ceasing of humanitarian aid. It feels like we're going backwards, Linda says. There can be a sense, and thinking about, there can be a sense of impending doom, a sense that we are witnessing the collapse, the ending. We have the sense of that it's end times, right? We've just had that massive, I don't know if you guys have been following the evangelical Christians, but the rapture, the big expectation of the rapture that on the 23rd of September in America. We're seeing a lot of racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, white supremacy, bigotry, a lot of religious, and righteous fighting. This is all number 9. This is all number 9. We are in a 9 universal year. If you add up 2025, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 5 is 9. We are in a 9 universal year. Comes around once every 9 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Number 9 in numerology is very akin to the signs and houses that Jupiter rules. So it's very Sagittarian. So we have a lot of the belief, a lot of the religious stuff, a lot of the ideology stuff going on. We have a lot of Pisces and 12th house going on. We're seeing a lot of the shadow work of these signs. But as someone mentioned in the chat, we're also seeing people rise up. We're seeing this rising up against, or this rising up in support of a different way of being. Again, around humanitarian crises, around, tolerance and diversity. We're seeing both sides, this polarization of the 9 coming up. Can I ask you, from this perspective of, I'm wanting to tap into your astrological or numerological understanding. And Jenny is saying, if anything is ending, and she's a solipsist as it coincides with her aging diseases. This is something I'd love for you to tap into just for a moment with your astrological understanding, because this is something. Actually, no, before I go there, how are people feeling? What is the general mood? What is the general energy? What is the general emotional response or psychological response? How are we feeling in the face of everything that's going on at the moment in the world? Can you just drop in the chat for me some ideas? Chaos. Defensive, angry, frustrated, unsafe. Disappointment, yeah. Yeah, there's a real heaviness. Anything else you guys want to put in? Sadness, but also hope. I love that. Yeah, 9 rules, hope and hopelessness. Yeah, so at the moment it can feel very heavy, right? There can be a lot of gloom, a lot of sense of doom, like impending doom, a sense of hopelessness, despair, heaviness. Had a lot of people telling me they can't be present with it anymore, right? So they're just wanting to tune it out. They're like, that conflict. What's that old cartoon about? Your desire to stay informed is in conflict with your desire to stay sane. Yeah, low energy. So we've got this real heavy, hopeless feeling for most people, and this sense of, well, it's very Piscean, right? It's very much like it's too big for me, right? What can I do in the face of all that's happening? I am just one little person, and this is all too big. The collapse of the climate, right? The shift in the global world order, the humanitarian crises, the genocide, the holy war, all of these things feel too big and out of my control. Number 9 is that idea of hopelessness. Then we have this idea within number 9 and within Pisces energy, this idea of number 9 asks us, do you believe in humanity? Do you believe in the divine? Right? Number 9 is often where we get to a point where we go, well, why would God let this happen? And the sense that the pact between humanity and the divine has been broken somehow. That's very Piscean. That's very number 9. Or the sense that humanity is beyond redemption, so maybe we should be wiped out. This is very heavy, and I'm sorry to bring such a heavy thing to the table, but this is where we're at, right? We've had Neptune coming through Pisces, we've had Saturn coming through Pisces. We're in this 9 universal year, and it's all seemingly coming to a head at the moment. But if I could ask you to put your astrological hats on for me, or your numerological hats, and just think about for a moment, just reflect for me, what is the point of a 12th house transit? What is the point when the 12th house is activated for us, that Piscean space, whether it's by annual perfection or you've got a big planet coming through Pisces or through your 12th house? What is the main kind of energy or point of those transits, do you think? What are they doing for us? Can I get you to drop in the chat? Anyone? Bringing endings? Thanks, Karen. To cleanse stuff that's not working. Yes, and make way for new energy. Time out, go within, work on where next. Yes, yes, connection. Anyone else want to drop something in? I think this is it, right? We're putting our, when we're thinking astrologically, unfinished business. Yes, when we are coming through the 12th house, there's 2 things. Okay, so let's just look at the 12th house. Number 1, we're looking at this idea of we have, typically by the time we get to the 12th house, we've gone all the way from the first all the way around to the 12th. And by the time we get to the 12th, there's probably an awful lot that we've been sweeping under the rug. Psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. There's a lot of stuff we haven't had time to think about. There's a lot of stuff we haven't had time to work with. There's a lot of things that we haven't had the energy or the time to process. So by the time we get to the 12th house, there's usually a lot here that's been going on in the subconscious, or that we've just been sweeping under the proverbial rug. And by the time we get to the 12th, by the time we get to that Pisces energy, by the time we get to the 9 energy, it's time to bring all that's happening in the subconscious up to the conscious mind so that we are aware of it, so that we can address it, so that we can create some spaciousness around it, so that we can process it, address it, release it, transform it, resolve it. Right? By the time we come around to the 12th house, we're looking at a lot of the poisons. We're looking at a lot of the bitterness. We're looking at a lot of, as we said, the unfinished business that needs to be cleansed and purified and released. So we are exactly where we're meant to be. Right now, so unfortunately, when people don't speak archetypally, we have this sense for a lot of people that we are in the end times. Wait, let me see. We have this sense of a lot of people who don't understand the cycles that we work with think of the nature of time as being linear. It goes in one direction, from the past to the future, end of story. They don't understand what we understand, that the nature of time is radically different. Right? They don't understand that when you get to the end, when you get to the 12th house, you go into the first house. right? Time is not just cyclica, it works in a spiral. So they don't have the faith. 9 Pisces, faith. They don't, Jupiter, faith. They don't have the faith in the eternal return. They don't have faith that after the 12th house comes the first. They don't have the faith or the understanding that in the 12th house, in the 9 energy, we are cleansing out all that no longer serves the path forward. So that when we cross that threshold into the first, or into the first, the first year or the first house, we are hopefully leaving a lot of the poison behind. Not just leaving it behind, repressing it, suppressing it, putting it back under the rug, but we've done that internal soul work so that we have released it and transformed it and transmuted it, so that it is honestly not coming with us. Is this making sense? Someone talk to me. I need a voice.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Karen. I can see you reaching. Are you going to jump on? Or are you typing maybe? There we go. So we have, oh, my camera isn't working. I can see the other Karen though was trying to jump in. Thanks, Karen. So we have this idea when we get to this point where one of the ways that we can be of true service to the community around us is by helping them understand that that the nature of time is different to perhaps how they understand it. That we are actually exactly where we are meant to be. That when we are, I'm just going to quote Marianne Williamson for a minute. I've got her, I wrote it down here so I could read it to you. It's one of my favorite quotes. She said, spiritual progress is like detoxification. Things have to come up in order to be released. Once we have asked to be healed, then our unhealed places are forced to the surface. And this to me is the energy of the 9 or the 12th house, that Piscean energy. When we are seeing the poison in our collective world and in our society, and some of the things that our fellow humans are doing may feel very surprising to us and very shocking to us and very draining to us. But if we don't know that this is in our community, it's still there. When we are in the 12th house energy, when we're in the 9 energy, it's like the words come out of the woodwinds come out of the wood, right? We get to see what is really happening in society, what is actually there, so that we can address it. So that if we don't understand it, it's there, it's directing consciousness, it's directing the collective, just in this repressed, suppressed, hidden way. When we get to this sort of year, it's like, well, we need all of that to come up so that we are consciously aware of what is actually present, so that we can do something about it, so that we can work with it, so that we can address it. Is this making sense? Like, it's not suddenly it's there, it's just that now we're aware of it. It's always been there, now we're aware of it. Now we get to do something. Also thinking about this 12th house energy, I'm thinking about, so astrologically, we go from like the 12th house to the first. And we understand that the first house always comes after the 12th. It's like being in the dark moon cycle of the moon every month. Or it's like being in the Yule, the winter solstice energy of the great wheel of the year every year, June 21st, roughly every year. We have this understanding of the dying of the light, the aspects of ourselves, collectively or individually, that need to die, be released, healed, so that with the birthing of the new light, right, with the winter solstice, or when we hit the first house, we're asking ourselves, what do we want to die in the 12th? So that's what we can answer the question of what do we want to be born in the first. Did I just see something come in? So Linda's asking, if the number 9 is 12th, do some houses share a number given 1 to 9 versus 1 to 12? Yeah, it's not an exact it's not an exact correlation. Certainly we can see elements of number 9 in the Jupiterian, so ninth house. So the ideology stuff that we're seeing in the world, the religious stuff we're seeing in the world, very ninth house. Traditionally, Jupiter rules the 12th house and Pisces. So we have number 9 very much working with Sagittarius, Pisces, ninth house, 12th house. But there are other elements, like we would probably see some elements of number 5 in Sagittarius in the ninth house. We would see some elements of, say, 3 with Gemini or 5 with Gemini. So 3 with Gemini would be the communication side. 5 with Gemini would be the, the traveling and that curiosity and that insatiable movement of Gemini. So there's no direct one-to-one correlation. Yeah, it's a bit trickier than that. But there are some correlations that we can look at. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, does anyone else have a question for me before I go any further? Jump in. I want to know how it's landing so I know where to veer us. Nope. All right. So, as I said, one of the things that we understand about what's happening is that we understand that the nature of time and consciousness are connected. That when we are in a Piscean time, Piscean things are going to happen, and that makes sense. The rest of the world doesn't understand that. We do. So we are able to offer that guidance to people. But the other thing that we understand is that the transits happen both simultaneously in an individual way and in the universal way. So right now we are in a 9 universal year, and a lot of us are feeling overwhelmed, and a lot of us are feeling like, well, I don't know what to do. This feels too big. This feels too hard. This feels like it's just way too much. Is anyone here feeling that? Has anyone here been feeling that sense of, I don't know what to do. It's all too much. It's all too hard. Or have your clients been feeling like that? Have your loved ones and your family members been feeling like that? Yeah, the overwhelm and the powerlessness. Yeah, yeah. The information overload. Yes, so many of us have just been tuning it out. I can't absorb one more thing, which is very Pisces and very 9. Yeah, when you go, oh, I can't handle one more thing, and then we numb out. Right? We watch more Netflix or YouTube, or we drink more, or we eat more, or whatever, to try and numb out. We just can't bear any more input around it. Yeah, that overwhelm. Compassion fatigue, that's such an important one, and there's so many. Number 9 rules compassion and hope, right? But when it's just hit after hit after hit, and you wake up in the morning and you're like, well, what happened overnight, right? What else has happened? What other humanitarian crisis has happened overnight? Yeah, that compassion fatigue. Yeah, the collective emotional trauma. Absolutely, very 9, very Pisces. Because we often think about the beautiful, compassionate side of Pisces, but sometimes we forget about this other side of Pisces. And we think about, do you guys know, like, the typhonic energy of Pisces? Is that something you guys are familiar with? No, I'm seeing some shaking heads. Okay, so when we think of Pisces, when I think of Pisces, I think of this ancient Greek myth where they talk about the changing of the gods from the Titans to the Olympians, and the enormous war that happened between the Titans and the Olympians to see who would be in charge, who would be the gods, the head gods. And as part of this massive war between the gods, the Titans created the Typhon. And the Typhon was this that became literally like the father of all the monsters you've probably ever heard of in ancient Greece, right? The Cerberus and all of the gods, all of the horrific monsters that you've heard of. Typhon was the father. Typhon was known for having multiple animal heads, like bears and wolves and owls and eagles and snakes and all of the tails. And it was known for this chaos, right? Someone was talking about the chaotic energy we're feeling right now, this typhonic energy. It's this rage, it's like this it's righteous rage, and it's the cacophony of all of the sounds of all of the animal heads. It's like it's overwhelming. And so in the story, we have Aphrodite and her little son. And there we see these artworks, the masterpieces of this mother and her child in paradise, right, in this beautiful garden. And often what we see is this painting portraying the little one who's been stung by a bee and is very upset. And that's the worst thing that's ever happened in their paradise, in this idyllic world. And into this paradise comes the war, right? 9 rules war, right? All the wars that we're seeing this year. So into this idyllic world, we have the typhonic energy being released. And so Aphrodite and her son, they run to the river Euphrates to try to escape, right? Pisces, 9 energy, escaping. Right? I can't be present with it. I'm overwhelmed by it. I don't know how to handle the chaos. I don't know how to be present with the cacophony. I can't. So what did they do? They ran to the river Euphrates, and they tied a rope between the two of them so they wouldn't be separated. And they dived into the river Euphrates. And as they did, they turned into 2 fish. This is the symbol of Pisces, the 2 fish tied together by a rope so that they wouldn't be separated in the river. And then from under the river, they were able to look up through the surface of the water. And from under the river, all the sound was muffled. And the fire and all the raging, it looked like pretty fireworks. Do you know, it was muffled and easier to handle. Pisces and 9 energy, when we can't be present with the world, we escape. We numb out, we turn to Netflix, we binge on YouTube, we drink, we eat, we have too much sex, we do what we can to obliterate our consciousness because we just can't be present anymore. And when we're talking about that typhonic cacophony and chaos and rage, we can either be the person bringing the typhon inside 9 energy. We are the one causing that terror and suffering and pain and chaos. Or we are at the receiving end of it and we don't know how to cope with it. So we go and dive into the river Euphrates. Is this making sense? Have you guys heard that story before about Pisces? No? Does it help make sense of the energy of Pisces? Yeah. That numbing out addictive energy that we get with Pisces. Yeah. So a lot of us are in that state right now. Yes, the mega cult-like worship. Yeah, there's a lot going on right now with this energy. Oh, where was I going? Where was I going? The overwhelm. So there is a tendency, to get very, well, I don't know. And so we just numb out and we're not present with the world. Compassion fatigue, too overwhelmed. It's too much. And one of the things that we are invited to do is to remember that it is not our job to fix the entire world. So one of the things we would be invited to do, I want to read a quote for you from Edward Everett Hale, which I just love. It's one of my favorite quotes. He said, "I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. There's this place where we have to understand that I am just one and it all seems too big for me to contemplate, too big for me to connect to. It's too big for me. And yet at another level, humanity is just made up of every single one of us. Right? Humanity is every single one of us combined. So in our number 9 year, which I always find very fascinating numerologically, whenever we hit a universal 9 year, there is something that happens that independently and individually calls all of us to do our deep work. Now, we may not be in a 9 personal year. Some of us will be. 1 out of 9 of us is likely to be in a 9 personal year while we're in a 9 universal year. But the other 8 of 9 of us will not be. We will be in a different personal year number. And yet, while we may not be dealing with 9's themes of racism or genocide or collapse or dealing with our addictions, right? While we may not be dealing with very specifically 9 themes, we will all be called to the 9 element of working with what of our soul history, our karmic story, the soul wounds that we have brought in from other lifetimes, the unfinished work that we have left to do, the internal stories and narratives and patterns that hold us back. Just as society as a whole is being asked to address the narratives and the patterns and the behaviors that are holding us back as a collective, we are individually and independently being asked to do our work, because our work is the work of the collective. If everyone did our own work, then that would shift the collective, right? As Jiddu Krishnamurti, who I absolutely adore, where did I put his quote? Oh no. Oh, hang on. That's no good. Let me get his quote for you. I love his quote. Yeah. He said, "What you are, the world is. And without your transformation, there can be no transformation of the world." So when we feel like, oh, there's nothing I can do, well, the world is made up of you and me and each other. When we do our transformation and transformative work, the world benefits. We all benefit when we all do our internal work. And so what I'm seeing numerologically, whenever we are in a 9 universal year, and I'll show you, I'd love to show you this. Numerologically, we have something called the Pinnacles. Actually, let me just start there. Numerologically, we have something that we call the Pinnacles. There's 4 Pinnacles, and they're like 4 big time frames that we work with. The first pinnacle we are born into. Right? We are born into it, and then we're in there for anywhere between 27 and 36, 35 years, depending on your birth path number. The first pinnacle is linked to, on one level, it's you're born into it and you're in it until like 27 to 35 years of age. So it's your youth, it's your childhood, it's your family of origin, it's your caretakers when you were younger, it's the family narrative that you've taken on board. It's all that you were taught about yourself when you were younger. So when we're in a 9 universal year and our first pinnacle, everyone on the planet right now, our first pinnacle is activated simultaneously. Everyone on the planet has their first pinnacle activated. It's all a different number, but we all have it activated simultaneously. So at one level, we may be seeing a lot of family stuff coming up this year. Right? Maybe we're going home. Maybe we're reconnecting with people we've been estranged from. Maybe old family habits and family patterns are coming up to be healed. Maybe the story or the narrative that you received from your parents that have perhaps hindered you or blocked you your entire life, maybe this year has been inviting you to do that inner work. Right? The story you were told about never being enough, the story you were told about no one is interested in anything you have to say, the story you were told about you didn't deserve it, that success you got. One of my clients this year, she's been battling with this internal story about she doesn't deserve it. And she just keeps waiting for the other penny to drop, for the other shoe to drop. She just keeps waiting because she didn't earn it. She doesn't deserve it. She just keeps waiting for it to be ripped away from her. She keeps ending up with these awful situations with people being so jealous and envious of her that, well, someone, my client, I do coaching one-on-one. One of my clients, she owns 3 restaurants and a nail salon, a beauty salon. And someone is so envious. They have been like making up stories about her, lying about her, publicly defaming her, putting awful things all over social media about her. They have called the border security police people saying, oh, she's hiring illegal immigrants. So they've come and checked the papers of everyone that works for her. That didn't work. So they called the ATO. That, oh, she's not declaring her money. She's lying and cheating and being illegal, paying people under the counter. No, she's not. But hey, ATO was called, and then they shut her businesses down, and they did a complete audit of her. Oh, there's nothing there. No, of course there's nothing there. So then she keeps going. This person then, through a mixture, I can't understand people, honestly, oil paint and human feces, and then threw it all over the front of her restaurants. Right? And she's like, oh, I give up. Like, I don't deserve it. The universe is taking this away from me. And her partner was like, are you insane? Like, we are not caving to this. Went to Bunnings, got what he needed, and then scrubbed it all up. And by lunchtime, they were working again. She's just last week won 2 big business awards for the Business Leader of the Year and Business, what was the other one? She won the Business and New Business of the Year, because the nail salons is a new business. But we're working with this old pattern. Or what is this story that she keeps constellating? What is this story that she doesn't deserve it? What is this story that she's not worthy? What is this story that at any minute it's all going to be torn away from her? It's all going to be torn apart. Oh, it was her mum. When she was young, right? In grade 3, she remembers very excitedly the teacher told her that, oh, you are going to be our class captain. You're going to be our class captain. You have the top grades. Everyone looks up to you. Everyone respects you. They look to you for your leadership. You are our class captain. The mother refused to let her have it because she didn't deserve it. She didn't earn it. Her mother refused to allow her, the teacher, to give her that honor. When she graduated from university in Australia, by the way, she's not from here, English is her second language. When she graduated from university here, big accomplishment to graduate from a tertiary level education in another language, hard enough to do in your own language. Her mother said, oh, you're not smart enough to do that. Obviously you cheated. Obviously you just copied off someone else. You didn't earn that. You didn't deserve that. The mother tried to stop her from going to her graduation. Of course, she went to her own graduation, but her mother refused to attend. So she's got this internal narrative. We all have internal narratives. And every time we come to a 9-year, universally, our first pinnacle is activated. The stories, the patterns, the behaviors, the internal beliefs that we have taken on board, and they're subconscious, and we allow them to dictate our lives. We allow them to determine the actions we take without fully comprehending how it's interfering or blocking us in our evolutionary path. I often think of this as the soul work that we do so that we can do the great work. And often when I think about the great work that we are here to do, I often think of that as like a carrot that's kind of dangled in front of us. To here, come and do this. Come and do this. This is amazing. You're passionate about this. You really want to do this. This is great. Right? This is like the carrot to encourage us to do the soul work. We have to do that internal work to become the person capable of doing that great work. And this is the work we're doing all the time. But in a 9 universal year, the first pinnacle is activated. And it's a lot easier because we have a lot more easy access to the subconscious material. It comes up. And then we have the opportunity to be present with it. It's like it holds our foot to the flame. Like, are you going to back down again, or are you going to step in? Are you going to avoid this work? Or are you going to allow yourself to sit with the discomfort and move through it so that you become the person capable of the great work? Now, when I talk about the first pinnacle being our childhood and our teenage years and our early adulthood, that's the time frame that we're looking at. And for some people, they're only comfortable with the idea of this incarnation, this lifetime, and we're looking at our family constellation patterns and things like that of the first pinnacle. But when I, as an astrologer and numerologist, look at people's charts, when I'm looking at that first pinnacle, more often than not, well, I want to say 100%, but I don't like the idea of saying 100%. What I'm seeing is our karmic axis. I'm seeing the nodal axis. Our first pinnacle is aligned with the nodal story in our astrology charts. So when we understand the nodal story, the nodal axis, we're talking about like the first 18 and a half years for the axis to go all the way around and come back to the first position. Yeah, we are recreating the karmic story in that first 18 and a half years, and then we are going on for the rest of our adult life trying to figure it out, right? Trying to do the work of that nodal axis. Well, this is all happening in the first pinnacle. So when we are looking at our first pinnacle numerologically, it's akin to looking at the astrological nodal story. So if you are one of the astrologers and numerologists that work with past lives, we're understanding that the childhood story of our family home, of our youth, is the karmic story that we have brought in of the unfinished work and the soul wounds from previous incarnations. We have chosen this family beautifully and perfectly to recreate the story, to recreate the emotional landscape and the dynamics that we need to do the work that we are here to do. And we are in this energy, as I said, we're born into it, we're in it, depending on your birth path number, for anywhere between 27 and 35 years. And then we move on. But we don't just move on. It's like the nodal axis in your natal chart. You don't just move on, like it's always there, right? But when we move on, it is the foundational energy. It is the foundational imprint. It is always in play. But every time we have a 9 universal energy, we are all put back into that first pinnacle. It's like every 9 years, we have this emphasis on the first pinnacle, which is connected to our nodal axis. Is this making sense, guys? Can you jump in? Just let me know how this is going. Okay, any questions for me? Yeah, because I found this fascinating. When I realized this, I was astonished. Like when that dawned on me, when this clicked, for me, so this works when we're looking at 9 universal year, 9 universal month, or 9 universal day. Whenever we are in a 9 universal energy, we will individually be in the energy of our first pinnacle. And the first time we realized this, we were having a community call, my numerology group. It was Christmas a couple of years ago, so it would have been the number 6 years, so 3 years ago. And it was Christmas time, so it was December, so it was a 9 universal month. And we were absolutely, these themes are very present for me. Yes, Kathy, yeah. I mean, I think for a lot of us, that the story, what is the ancient story that we've internalized from our childhood, which is not just our childhood, it's past lives, right? But that is the story that we're being asked to work with. But I remember it was Christmas time, and I know Christmas has a lot to do with family, but a lot of our family youth stuff was coming up for us. And then we were kind of clicking that we were all in the personal month of our first pinnacle. And we're like, that's weird. How are we all in a personal month of our first pinnacle? That's odd, bringing up all this family stuff. And then that's where we started to click. Every time we're in a 9 universal energy, we are all in the first pinnacle, bringing up the family stuff. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of, I mean, to do that work, to come through that family. Oh, was it Ram Dass that said, if you think you're enlightened, go home and spend a week with your family, right? Family has a way of bringing your stuff up, because family is bringing in the past life stuff, all the unhealed narratives and stories and behaviors and patterns. Yeah. Is anyone else really doing the stuff with the family at the moment? Like family loyalties, family obligations, family history, family patterns? Traveling home to see family, reconnecting with people from family that perhaps you've been estranged from. Is this the stuff for you guys? I'd be surprised if it isn't. Family presses your buttons because they're the one that installed them. Yeah, yeah. But again, our family is recreating the karmic story that we've brought in with us. Yeah. So like for me personally this year, I have been working on writing my first self-paced course. It has taken me a year, like an entire year. I started it last October. And a lot of, oh, here we go. We've got people before I share my story. Wanting to move closer to my family after being away for 2 years. Our brother has just recently separated from his partner after 41 years together. So we're reuniting with him soon. Yeah, a lot of this family stuff will be happening. Yeah. I encourage you to be really as present and aware as you can with the stuff that's trying to come up. The stuff, the internal voices, the internal stories that you've told yourself. To be really present with them as they come up and to not believe everything you think, as the old saying goes. For me, I've been working on a self-paced course, which I think will be launched in the next week or two. I've been saying that for 10 months, but I really am. I think it will be released this month. It will be released in October. But I have nearly collapsed every week. Some weeks multiple times, some days multiple times. I have nearly collapsed I cannot tell you how many times. Who am I to be writing this? Who am I to be creating this? No one would possibly be interested in anything I have to say. I remember big wounding for me from my dad when I was 16, trying to tell him about something that was really important to me, and him saying that he said, honestly, there's absolutely nothing you could possibly say that I would be interested in. And that landed in a way that I haven't been able to find my voice. I'm 53. And that was when I was 16. So when I started teaching groups nearly 10 years ago, I had a full-blown panic attack after every class using my voice in a group situation, because there's absolutely nothing I could possibly say that anyone would be interested in. When I was writing blog posts, similar vibration. When I started doing public speaking like this, terrifying. Writing the self-paced thing has been a really big test for me this year. Really big test. Every time that voice came up, it was an invitation to just stop, an invitation to cave, an invitation to believe the internal narrative. And it's like, no one has to stop me now because I've internalized that voice. I stop myself. You don't have to. I'll do it for you. What is the story that you guys have? What is the belief that you have internalized? That's not true. And it's connected, most likely, to your first pinnacle. Either that or the top pinnacle. The fourth pinnacle, that's where we find the big heavy hitters. That's where we find Pluto. That's where we find Saturn, Lord of Karma. The fourth pinnacle is really the big heavy ones. You don't really need to understand what they are in numerology because you can see in your astrology chart. But it's that this is what we're looking at with the pinnacles, these really big karmic energies of that our soul is working with. But this year in particular, all of our nodal stories are being activated. And you have the opportunity to support yourself, but also your loved ones, your family, your clients, to really dig into what are those stories? What are those beliefs that you have taken on board as though they were truth? What are the beliefs that you are not even conscious of, right? This is the 9 energy. This is that Piscean 12th house energy. The stuff that we've swept so far under the carpet that we are not conscious of it. We're not aware of it. How do we do the work to bring that up to consciousness so that we can identify when it's blocking us? We can identify when it's obstructing us, so that we can do the work of being present with it, so that we can put some spaciousness around it. We can untangle it. We can get more clarity on it. We can do the healing and the resolution and the processing and letting that go so that it no longer dictates the way that we show up in the world, the way we show up for ourselves and our work and our relationships. So this, like last month, I imagine was a doozy. Yes, we had the eclipse season, but last month we were all in a 9-month of a 9-year universally. That means that whatever personal year you were in that month and that year. There was a real amplification of what this work is about. Not just this year, but lifetime wise, right? This is First Pinnacle being activated for all of us. The question is, are we numbing out? Are we tuning out? Are we jumping in the river Euphrates? Are we ignoring it? Or are we supporting ourselves and getting the support that we need, doing our, nervous system work, our polyvagal work, seeking support from a therapist or a good trusted friend or a peer of astrology who understands this archetypal language, so that we can do our soul work. And then we are that person, because we are learning to speak this language. We are that person in the community for other people who haven't trained, who don't have this language, who don't have this perspective, who don't have this lens, who don't understand why everything's just so hard right now. Right? We are the people that can bring that guidance and that support and that encouragement. That yes, it's overwhelming, but it's an invitation to do our work. Yes, it's overwhelming. That's because we're touching on really deep patterns that maybe we've been working on for 332 lifetimes. It's meant to be hard, but that's okay. Because doing the archetypal work, not only do we have this big picture understanding that we are where we are meant to be, everything is perfectly happening in divine timing, but also because we have this language under our belt, we can look at the archetypal symbols in play. So we understand the work that's being asked of us. Right? We can get really into the nitty gritty and down into the detail and go, oh, well, my nodal axis, it's Leo in the first house. It's ruled by the sun, Cazimi Mercury in the 8th. It's squared by Mars in the 10th, right? We can get down granular. What is the work we are being asked to do? So it's not just blanket, overwhelming and hard. It is overwhelming and hard, but we know exactly what is being asked of us. So we can support ourselves, but that's also the work that we are uniquely placed to do in our community. Is that making sense, guys? How is that landing for you? How is that resonating? Do you have any questions for me? or insights you'd like to share?
I put a comment in the chat just regarding Chiron,
Go on.
because a lot of your description of internalized narratives and things is very similar to how I think about Chiron and communicate that to clients when they're particularly approaching Chiron return.
I love Chiron return. I have Chiron on my MC. My community is called Chiron's Cave. I love Chiron. But yeah, and Chiron, that Chiron return was a huge experience for me. Very, very grateful for the Chiron return. That was, yeah, immensely healing. Huge, but immensely healing ultimately. So we trained in psychosynthesis and did a lot of work on recognizing the sub-personalities, such as the inner critic, the inner saboteur, the inner child. Yeah, if we can be really present with those voices, like I cannot tell you how many times I nearly collapsed while writing this and like just collapsed, like just energetically, psychologically, emotionally. It was just hard, right? And that's where we all are. It's hard. Can we identify the voice? Can we recognize what's being asked of us? Can we be present and do the work anyway? Can we be present and do the work anyway? Yeah. Yeah.
Hi,
This
Juliette. It's Yvette speaking.
Yes, thank you, Yvette.
Yes, I just wanted to comment astrologically.
Yeah.
It would be worthwhile you taking a look at the asteroids Sedna and Eris. So Sedna is abandonment,
Yeah.
and Eris is discord, but can be productive discord. Fortunately, I have it in a reasonably good way in my chart, Eris that is, because that can be difficult. But the Sedna one in my chart is a lot to do with abandonment. Also, I just 2 or 3 days ago, I was on a Zoom conference with Gabor Mate.
Oh, love him.
Yeah. So he's offering the HEAL, which is $1,200 normally for $400, which you get the thing for a year or something. So it's worthwhile Googling that and see what he's only offering that price until the October the 5th, which is Sunday. So if you want to have a look at it, I'm not necessarily recommending it. I'm just
Oh,
saying
I've got other
yeah,
programs of his. So yeah,
yeah.
I love his work.
I'm just saying that that's an availability. But certainly, I would absolutely recommend looking at Sedna,
Yeah.
abandonment, and Karan because I think if the wording you used was correct about your father saying remotely, the word remotely, if that's what he used, you have to wonder what happened in his early childhood experience.
Oh, yeah. And this is the thing when I think about my dad, and any of us,
Mm,
right? We are looking at it's not just my dad.
mm, mm.
Although my dad's Pluto was on my south node, so I think we have a lot of karmic stuff going on. But typically, I'm not saying necessarily that it is. I think there's multiple layers involved. I think, when I look at my
Yeah,
dad and how he was raised, it makes sense that he
yeah,
responded the way he did.
yeah, yeah.
When I look at our
No,
past life connections, that makes sense. But it's not just about my dad, right? And that's not what the
yeah,
emphasis I was trying to make. It was just that we would all have a
yeah,
story
yeah.
that we
So
took on
there are,
board when we were younger that has
yeah,
somehow continued to
yeah,
dictate who we have given ourselves permission to be and the work we have allowed ourselves to do and how we have given ourselves permission to show up in the world. And part of this work, every time we hit a 9 universal year and we're all in that first pinnacle, that we have a real opening. And when I think of 9 years, I do think that a lot of the nodes, right? Because I mean, no, it's not exact, like it's 9. So therefore it's 18 for the complete cycle, 18 and a half years for the nodal axis. But there is like this thing with the 9 in 9 9 years. It's like, so the the nodal axis was in Pisces. Well, in 9 years it'll be in Virgo, and in 9 years it'll be in Pisces again, right? We have this energy with the nine and the pinnacles and the nodal axis. There's something in that I'm diving into at the moment, doing a bit more research around.
Yeah. I didn't think it was just your father because the word remotely implies generational dysfunction because it means remote means several generations.
Did I say
You know,
remote? I don't remember saying remote.
yeah, but you said remotely, so I didn't, that's why I said I don't know if that's the word he used,
Yeah.
but if that was the
No,
word that came up in context,
he said
that means there's
absolutely.
something that goes back, like more than to do with him. It's maybe several generations back from him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't remember saying the word remotely, but I do think there's generational stuff here. But
Yeah.
no, he said there's absolutely nothing you could possibly say that I would be interested in. And the thing, and that's, that's
Yeah.
just my
Yeah.
story, like my client's story around, you didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve
Yeah.
it. The other shoe will drop.
But
You
he's
will lose it.
there's absolutely nothing you could say that I could be possibly interested in is distancing himself. Maybe that's where I've got the word remote from, which means it
Yes.
is several generations. We're going back 100, 200 years, like several generations. So maybe there's been problems that they're not within their circumstantial control, and that's just carried through generationally. Um, yeah,
Absolutely.
kind of like, yeah. And so in the fact
And
that you've got Karen in your MC, it's kind of like pretty helpful.
yeah, yeah, I wear Chiron with have Chiron with me on my
Yeah.
with here he is with Jason. I have Chiron with me all the time. But the idea around doing our own work and how that is connected to the collective, I think is an important thing. I think it's interesting that when we have the 9 universal year, so the collective wounds are being stirred and the collective healing and transformation is being called for. It's the same time that we are all individually having our first house, our first pinnacle being stirred up. That connection between our personal work and the collective work is united in this. So there's a piece that I absolutely love. It's a bit long, but I'd love to read it to you if you guys are open to it. Are you familiar? Wait, let me just see if there's any more messages. Oh, there is one there. Let me just have a look. Karen is saying, my first pinnacle is 11-2. I've recreated the family home in my new strata situation. The strata committee is headed by a very domineering woman, and I feel that I have no support from the other members against her bullying. Oh, my situation at growing up. Yes, at home growing up. That's it. How are we recreating the dynamic? Because it's not really about the family or anything, right? It's about us having the opportunity to address our work again. Right? Us having the opportunity to address our work. How do we constellate it? How do we recreate the landscape so that we have another opportunity of doing our work? And so then we get to say at another level, we get to say, oh, thank you. That was really hard. Thank you. Right? Because I was able to do my work. Yeah, standing up. And the thing is with our first pinnacle, we will have it like in astrology. This is something my numerology students take a while to figure, but you guys astrologers, so you'll know. When we're looking in the pinnacles, we always have two numbers. We have a number, so like the 11-2 that you've mentioned, and then we'll have a challenge number. And those two numbers always work together. And it feels like an aspect, like a hard aspect in astrology. Like you'll have like your conjunctions, your squares, your oppositions, those really challenging, hard aspects that are dynamic and fabulous in that they force you to do your work. Yeah. So when you're looking at your pinnacles, there's always a number and a challenge to that work together. Part of me is like, well, I can teach you how to do that if you'd like. I'm happy to teach you at least how to calculate your first pinnacle. But on the other hand, it's kind of not really important because your nodal axis, right? It's definitely your nodal axis that we're working with. Does anyone have a question for me? I'd love to read a piece by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, a bit more hopeful piece. But before we do you have any questions for me? Like tonight was a bit heavy, but hopefully helpful as well. Any questions for me? Anything that's bubbling up inside you, anything that feels you'd like to be witnessed around or you'd like to share.
Where did I go?
Anne?
Oh, hi.
Yeah,
No,
hi.
I was just thinking, when I was talking about the sub-personalities and thinking about childhood, I've shared this with people before, but there might be some new people here that might relate. We used to do a lot of play acting, role play in our sub-personality work. And one time we had to come as our favorite sub-personality. So I came as Pollyanna
Love that.
because I'd had a father who suffered from terrible depression and ended up dying an alcoholic. So I was always the rescuer. Anyway, I came as Pollyanna, ran around with Kleenex play acting, to cheer everyone up. And to my shock, I realized that that was my need, not theirs. So it was a real revelation.
Isn't it beautiful when you have those moments of personal
Yeah, I mean, that
clarity?
was years ago, but I really realized that I was always choosing men unconsciously who needed cheering up, real Heathcliff types that, were glowering and everything, because I thought I could change them. But I got over that one anyway. But I just thought I'd share that with you.
I love it. I can hear a nine. I can hear the nine energy in your share, like the nine is the savior. The nine is the,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
hero, and
absolutely.
the nine often likes a bit of drama.
Well, guess what? I've got Pluto conjunct Saturn in the 9th house in Leo. So
So I bet
obviously.
numerologically we would find a strong nine there as well, then with all of that
Oh
ninth house
yeah.
energy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm a 29, 11 too. And my nine used to be the savior all the time. I used to love
Mm.
the drama. And then I got to a point where I thought, Juliette, grow up. You don't need all this drama anymore. Like I recognized what I was doing. Sounds like you had that moment of clarity. And
Yeah.
then I didn't realize, but I started like living vicariously through other people's drama. And so that they
Yeah.
would call me and say, Juliette, this is happening. And I'm like throwing on my hero's cape and I'll be there. I'm getting in the car now, And it took me a while to click that I was still living with the drama, just someone else's, not mine.
Yeah.
Um,
And funnily enough, I've got a neighbor downstairs and he's a bit paranoid, schizophrenic, and I I wasn't in a romantic relationship with him. I was just actually drawn into his vortex and pulled myself up in time and realized, oh my goodness, I'm doing the same thing again. So it's you think you've got over it and then you haven't. But I've learned to detach now and, just draw back so that I don't get pulled into that pattern. It's hard to completely overcome.
yeah, it absolutely is. But you're doing the work, right? You've
Yeah.
developed that
And I've got another lovely neighbour
self-awareness.
who's like the good side of my father, the same politics.
Yeah,
And so I'm working happily with someone who's not hung up and, is very stable and wonderful to, have that intellectual stimulation. Because my father and well, I was born on my father's birthday, so there was a very strong affinity between them. We were both teachers and we're both the same political ideals, but yet I had to deal with my father's dramas, whereas this other neighbour, the stable neighbour, is allowing me the friendship without all the drama. So it's a nice balance.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that for you. But it indicates your soul work. It indicates your inner work that you've been doing, that you're not constantly falling back into the old hole, the same hole repeatedly, right?
Well, it helped to do a year of Jungian analysis as well as 2 years of psychosynthesis. It gave me a great framework on
Yeah,
which to, pull myself up and realize, like the observer self and all that kind of thing, where you can
yeah,
look dispassionately at what you're doing, but not, overly criticize yourself, but just still love yourself and
yeah.
realize that you've just got to change the pattern.
And that's the work that we do with astrology and numerology.
Yeah.
That's the work. We have it's less intense than psychotherapy when you're right in it. Astrology and numerology gives you like this archetypal mirror, like this distancing, so you can objectively understand what the patterns are, so that like there's a distancing with this work, so you're not in it, you're not swept up in it like you would be in a therapy session or something like that.
Yeah.
And we have that detachment, we have that objectivity, we have that distance, but we still have this incredible clarity about what the patterns are. And so, and therefore, what the work is that we are being asked to do. That's one of the beautiful things about astrology and numerology. And then for those of us who become astrologers and numerologists, this is part of the work that we then offer into the community. That level of clarity and that level of objective intellectual support. It's more intellectual than emotional quite often, right? With this sort of work, we're understanding it here, so we're not swept up emotionally in it. Not saying it's not an emotional process, not saying it's not an intuitive process, but there's a lot of intellectual work inside this work that we do.
Yep.
Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. I'm a life path number 7, by the way.
Are you? Well,
Yeah.
I immediately want to know what kind of 7. 25 7, 34 7, 16 7. There's never just
my
7.
math. Hang on. It's getting late at night. I'm
That's
just
okay. That's okay.
uh,
While you're thinking, does anyone else have something you would like to put on the table, or you would like to ask, or you would like to share?
16 over a 7. I should have known that, but I just had a senior moment.
Thank you for adding that up. The 6 of the teacher makes sense. Okay, so does anyone else have anything you'd like to share? Like, how is this landing for you guys? I would really love a couple of other people to jump on. Feel free, like Anne did, to come and chat with me. I'm liking the cat's tail in Karen's screen. That's fab. Would you guys like me to show you how to calculate your first pinnacle? Is that something you would like, or is it enough to know that it's equivalent to your node? Yes, please. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay. So let me do this. Oops. Bring this up. Okay, let me share my screen. Can I share my screen? Oh, yes, I can.
Yeah.
Groovy, thank you. Ooh. It won't let me optimize it. Hopefully that won't matter so much. Okay, so if you've got oh, wait. What is going on? If you have your why didn't that work? If you have a pen and paper there, that would be really groovy. Why is it showing? Let's see if that works. Aha. Okay. So you can see you see my iPad screen? Yeah? Okay, groovy. All right, so the full pinnacles would look something like this when they're fully cast. Let me just change colors of pens. So this is the first pinnacle here, the second, the third, and the fourth. So while we won't learn to do the whole thing, because like I said, that could take about 3 hours, I would love to teach you the first, but I'll give you just a little brief overview. So we are born into the first pinnacle, and we are there, depending on your birth path number, as I said, anywhere between 27 and 35 years. Then we will move into the second pinnacle. We will be there for 9 years, an entire, what we call in numerology, an epicycle. We go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are in the second pinnacle for one epicycle of 9 years. Then we move into the third pinnacle for one epicycle of 9 years. And then we move into the fourth epicycle, sorry, the fourth pinnacle at the top. And we are there until we pass away. So we will continue through the epicycles over and over and over again until we die. Right? Once we reach there, we have earned it. And we are not going anywhere else. We don't come back to the first. We don't go anywhere else. Once we reach that fourth pinnacle, we stay there. Now, you'll notice that the fourth pinnacle is, I'm just going to draw on this. The fourth pinnacle is like this umbrella energy, right? It's like this big umbrella that's holding the first 3 pinnacles inside it. That fourth pinnacle is always in play. I know we are born into the first pinnacle, but the first, the second, the third pinnacles, all that we experience and learn, all of our evolutionary process that we go through in those first 3 pinnacles is fed up into that fourth pinnacle. The fourth pinnacle moves all of its energy and learning into our destiny number. That's another position again. So that even when we are in the first pinnacle and we're 10 years old, we will still have themes from the fourth pinnacle in play. It's that important because that's the heavy hitters. Like I said, the fourth pinnacle is like Pluto and Saturn and things like that. But let me just get rid of that. There we go. If we're looking at, I just want to teach you how to calculate your first pinnacle. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to get a new frame here. I'd love you to put your date of birth on your page. And I love you to draw each of these down to just a single digit. So for example, I'm born on the 17th, 1 plus 7 is 8. February is 2, it's already a single digit, that's easy. Mine 1972, 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 7 is 17, plus 2 is 19, right? 19, 1 plus 9 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. So 1972 comes down to 1. We just keep adding until we've reached 1 digit. So for me, my day number is 8, my month number is 2, and my year number is 1. Is this making sense? Have you all done that? That's all good? Yep. All right. So now we're going to draw the pinnacles. Just a big triangle and another triangle. So that's the shape that we're drawing for the pinnacles. I'll just give you a second to draw that. Ooh, can you hear my dog? Something's happening. Sorry, let me just, 1 second. Okay. I'm just going to close the door. Hopefully it's just a possum. Okay, so when we go down to the base of the pinnacles, we're going to put the numbers down as though we were writing the date like an American, right? So they put the month first. So we're going to put the month, then the day, then the year. So for me, it would be 2, then 8, then 1. Yeah. Okay. Now, when we're going to add the pinnacles, I may as well show you how to do them all. If it feels confusing, you can just rewind and rewatch this bit. Okay. So for the general rule of thumb, when we're adding the pinnacles, is we have the pinnacle number, which is the number at the top. right? The number like here at the top. And then we have the challenge number, which is this one down here. The challenge number in the circle, the pinnacle number at the top of each pinnacle. The general rule is to calculate the pinnacle number, we use addition. To calculate the challenge number, we use subtraction. So the first pinnacle, we work with the month and the day number, because those are the numbers at the base of that first pinnacle. So to get the pinnacle number, we use addition. So for me, it's 2 plus 8, right? Month plus day. 2 plus 8 is 10. 10, 1 plus 0 comes down to 1. So 1 is the pinnacle number. To get the challenge number, we use subtraction. So it's 2 and 8. No, we're not going to subtract 8 from 2, right? Just subtract whichever is smaller from whichever is bigger. So for me, it's 2 from 8 is 6. Right? You won't have a negative number. Just 2 from 8 is 6. Some of you may have 0. That's okay. Doesn't mean you did something wrong. Should we do them all? Do we have time to do them all? Okay. Ben, are you okay for me to do a bit more? Yeah? All right. So second pinnacle, right? We're going to work with the numbers at the base of the second pinnacle, which is the day and the year. So in my case, that day is 8 and the year is 1. So remember to add to get the pinnacle. So for me, 8 plus 1 is 9. And then we subtract to get the challenge. So in my case, 8 minus 1 is 7. We put the challenge in the circle. Easy to see it, easy to immediately remember which one's which. Right? The challenge is in the circle. Now the third pinnacle is quite tricky. So I really want you to pay attention. This is the one where people often make mistakes, and that's okay, that's normal. But listen and maybe rewatch this part a couple of times if it feels a bit complicated. The first two pinnacles are really grounded at their base in the numbers at the bottom of the whole triangles. The third pinnacle is nestled between the first two pinnacles. It's not really touching the bottom. So the third pinnacle takes its information from the first two pinnacles. To get the third pinnacle number, we are adding the first two pinnacles. So in my case, I'm adding 1 plus 9. 1 plus 9 is 10. It comes down to 1, so I have 1. The third challenge, the third pinnacle challenge, is the trickiest bit. It's the only bit that's tricky. So stay with me, listen very carefully. To get a challenge, we subtract. We are subtracting the first two pinnacle challenges. So in my case, the first challenge is 6. The second challenge is 7. So I'm subtracting 6 from 7. Right? Gives me 1. Does anyone have a question for me on that? Because that can be confusing. Right? It's the only pinnacle that does it a bit differently. It's the only pinnacle that works with different numbers. Every other, we're adding and subtracting the same numbers. This one's different. To get the third pinnacle, we're adding the first and second pinnacles. To get the third challenge, we're subtracting the first and second challenges. Okay, so rewatch that as you need. I'm happy for Ben to give my email address if someone wants to clarify that with me. More than happy. The fourth and final pinnacle, the top one, the heavy hitters, we get this by adding the numbers at the outside. So we're adding the month and the year. So in my case, it's 2 plus 1. Right? 2 plus 1 is 3, the month number and the year number. And then we are subtracting the month and the year number, same numbers, to get our challenge. So for me, 2 minus 1 is 1. Now, if you look at the third and the fourth challenges, you'll notice that mine are exactly the same, right? They're both 1. This means I have what we call a 1 overall life challenge. Oops, I can't get away from that. How do I do that? There we go. Overall life challenge. Not everyone will have an overall life challenge, but some of us do. Probably most of us will have an overall life challenge. Do you guys have one? Do you have an overall life challenge? Yeah, you've got one, Ben. What number have you got?
0.
Oh, it's 0. Okay. The 0 I always think of as like, Hermione's bag in Harry Potter, where, it's 0, so it's source. So it's everything and it's nothing. So it's like your soul it's like you've written yourself a blank check to go, okay, well, today we're doing a challenge of 3 and 4 and 8 simultaneously. And tomorrow it might be 6 and 7. And the day after that, it might be 1 and 2. And then it might be 4 and 8. It's just like a blank check for your soul to go, this is what we need in this moment to do the evolutionary work that we're here to do. And then if you ever get to kind of like breaking point, it's like your soul also go, okay, here's breaking. Nothing, just hold, do nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay, we're good to go, right? So it's like it can be anything, it can be all of them, it can be none of them when you have that 0 energy. It's like a soul that's really said, I'm here, I'm open, hit me. Like that magician energy, right? It's access to everything, whatever your soul needs in any given moment. Can you relate to that? Sometimes that can feel really chaotic.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. 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 The soul is ready to do big push-ups, I think, with that sort of energy. Yeah. Does anyone have a question for me? Okay. If you do, just let me know. If we're looking at timing, oh, there's chats there. Wait. I just realized there's chats. Month and day is First Pinnacle? Yes. Oh, so overall life challenge of 2, overall life challenge of 1. What's the implications of having the same pinnacle and challenger number? Oh, in my case, it was number 1. Yeah, like my soul is not, I want to swear, I really want to swear, but I've caught myself, I won't. My soul is not messing around when it comes to number 1. Yeah, my first pinnacle is 1. My third pinnacle is 1 with a 1 challenge. I have 1 as the overall life challenge. I have a double 1 in my birth path number because I'm a 2911 too. It's a double 1 energy. I have a lot to learn about 1. And 1 is very Aries and martial. 1 is also very Leo and the sun. So I have a Leo South Node in the first house, squared by Mars. like yeah, there's a lot of Mars, Leo, Sun issues, shall we say issues. I have issues, man, around all that 1 stuff, Mars and Leo and Aries, the sun. So yeah. So it just means that my soul is really it's really putting I've just come out of that. I want to show you how to calculate your timing. I've literally just finished that pinnacle with the 1 challenge. Holy cow. So 1 asks you to stand up, to be courageous and brave and face your fears. And yeah, that entire 9 years and to choose to live. Like I nearly died inside this pinnacle, massive car accident 5 years ago. I'm lucky to be alive. Seriously, I'm not kidding. My car hit a wombat when I was traveling 100K at just past midnight. Wombats are like, they can derail trains. So my car, I have complete amnesia, had big brain trauma from this car accident. My son was the passenger. He said we hit the wombat and the car just flipped and rolled a couple of times and yeah, completely written off. 2 years of massive rehab. I'm still rehabbing now, 5 years later. It was massive. But this is 1 energy. Do you choose to live? Do you choose to be incarnate? First house stuff, Aries stuff. Yeah. So I just saw a message come in. Oh, where did it go? How do I access it? There we go. Implications of having this, yes, integrating leadership with boundaries. Oh, massive. Yes, yes. 3 of my challenge numbers are 2. Well, if it'll be your overall life challenge, if 2 is in the 3rd and 4th. If you have this, if it's number 2 in the 3rd and 4th, it's an overall life challenge, yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, then yes, it is. That's your overall life challenge. And if we had your whole chart, we'd be very curious to see what else is number 2 doing for you. Like, is 2 a karmic lesson? Is 2 on one of your planes of expression? Is 2 in your birth path number? Like, if we actually had your whole chart, we'd get very interested and intrigued into what else is 2 doing. But even without all of that information, we understand that 2 is a very important pivotal piece for your soul's growth in this lifetime. Oh, it's in your life path number as well. Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Makes sense. When we see the numbers that are really big in, say, the points of intensification table or the pinnacles, we would hopefully see them in the birth path number or the destiny. It's like, this is an issue. And then our soul said, okay, so I'm giving us an entire lifetime to meditate and contemplate on this number. It's in the birth path number. Makes sense. Okay, so if I'll just quickly show you guys how to do the timings. And again, if this feels too hard, just leave it on the table. Please feel free to come back and rewatch the recording, if and when you feel to, when you choose to. But if you'd like to do it, if you don't want to do it, just don't do it. And if you'd like to do it, this is how we do it. So we need to figure out your birth path number to be able to calculate the timings. So to do that, we simply take your, I'm just going to delete, let me just delete this. I'm going to delete that. Okay. So we're going to add up the birth path number by just adding all the digits in a row, one after the other. So we say, for my example, 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, plus 9 is 20, plus 7 is 27, plus 2 is 29. We're not at 1 digit, so we keep going. 2 plus 9 is 11. Still not at 1 digit, keep going. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, this entire number is my birth path number, right? The entire number. So I am a 29, 11, 2. No, I am walking a 29, 11, 2 birth path. So whatever number you've come to is not just 5, right? Maybe you're a 32, 5, or a 41, 5. Maybe you're a 27, 9, or a 36, 9, or a 25, 7, right? There's usually only very young ones there, and there might be people here tonight, people born around 2000 or perhaps born around 2010. Some of the young people born since 2000 have very small birth path numbers. Like my son is just 7, full stop. What's that lady's name? Greta Thunberg. She's a pure 9, straight 9, nothing else. Right? So the really young ones are likely to have a very simple birth path number. For those of us born before 2000, we are likely to have more complex ones. Either really long ones like Christopher Hedges, the journalist, who's a 39, 12, 3, like a really big one. But most people have just 3 digits. 27, 9, 26, 8. Something simple like that. Now, what we're interested in right now, though, for this exercise, is we're going to take the number at the end, just the number at the end. So in my case, 2. And we're taking the number 36, which is the total of 4 epicycles. I mentioned epicycles before. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 1 epicycle. So we're taking 4 epicycles, which is 36, and we subtract our birth path number. So in my case, it's 2. 36 minus 2 is 34. So you do that, right? So take your birth path number away from 36. The smallest it could be is 27. The biggest it's likely to be is 35. Make sure I'm looking at the chat, see if anyone's got a question for me. Oh, Linda, can you have 2? What does that mean? What does that mean, Linda? Can you have two? Can you have two what? Sorry, love, I missed it coming in. You were probably responding to something I said and I didn't see it in time. You let me know. Keep an eye on the chat. I'll keep that up. Okay, so what we're going to do is just draw a little line here. Oops. And we're going to write whatever your age was, because that's your age. So for me, 34. It's a little more complicated than this, but this will be fine for where we are tonight. This is all we need. 34. And then we're going to add whatever that age is to your year of birth. Okay, so I'm born in 72, 34 years of age. 2 plus 4 is 6, 3 plus 7 is 10, 2006. So from when I was born in 1972 all the way through to 2006, for 34 years of my life, I was in that first pinnacle. Like that was the ocean I was swimming in. It's usually very noticeable when you change from one pinnacle to the next, because everything you take for granted about the world around you, the energetic space you have inhabited since birth, it changes when you shift from the first pinnacle to the second pinnacle, and it's usually very notable. Right? So I'm just going to go back as Linda's there. And my birth number is added to 27, so that adds to 9. Oh, yes. So most people will have like the two sections, 27, 9, 31, 4, 36, 26, 8. Yes, most people will have that. Some people have longer ones like I do, 29, 11, 2, or 39, 12, 3. Some people, 38, 11, 2. Some people will have longer ones. Most people have the two sections. And the young people born since 2000, 2010, sort of that sort of time frame, might just have one, right? Just one section. There will just be a pure 7, just be a pure 8, just be a straight 11. That's it. They'll just have this really small birth path, like really focused birth path number. Really focused. So I hope that answers your question. All right, so 34, 2006. Then we shift into the second pinnacle. And the second pinnacle for everyone is just one epicycle. So it lasts for 9 years. That's it. So we simply add. So I'm 34. I would add 9 gets me to 43. 2006 plus 9, 2015. The third pinnacle, again, it's exactly one epicycle. So 9 years. So we just add 9 again. So 43 plus 9 is 52. 2015 plus 9, 2024. So that was last year for me. The final year, and that one pinnacle with a one challenge, that was intense. And then into the fourth and final pinnacle. Now, again, you will be here for the rest of your life once you reach it. But you will still be working in these 9-year epicycles. So typically at the top here, we'll just add 9. So 52 plus 9, 61. 2024 plus 9, 2033. So in 2033, I will reach the top of my pinnacles for the first time. I will have completed the entire pinnacle journey for the first time. And then I will stay in the top pinnacle. I will re-enter the epicycle. I stay in that top pinnacle. But so 9 years later at 70, in 20, what will it be, 42, I will reach that top. I will recomplete the epicycle for the second time in that top pinnacle. Once you enter there, you never leave. Is that making sense, guys? Yep. Okay, so here we go. If we look at the fact, let's go, I'm just going to go over here. Last time I was with you guys, we looked at how to calculate your personal year number. Right? So we take our day and month of birth, and then we add it on to whatever year you're interested in. Right? The year you got married, the year you graduated university, the year you had your first baby, the year you started your business, the year you traveled overseas. It doesn't matter. Whatever year you're interested in, you can add it here. For this exercise, we're adding 2025 because that's what we're curious about. What is our personal year number this year? All right, so again, we just add it up. 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 5 is 19. Again, we want to bring it down to one number. 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. I am in a triple 1 year, people. I thought I was out of that one pinnacle with the one challenge, but I'm straight into a triple 1 year. Holy cow. But I am in a 1 year. My first pinnacle is 1. I want you all to look at your personal year number that you're in, the final number of this final number of your personal year number, and I want you to look at your first pinnacle. They should be exactly the same. If they're not, then something's gone a bit glitchy with the calculations. How is that coming up for everyone? Yeah, both 1, says Kathy. So Ben, yours is the same, your personal year number and your first pinnacle. Yeah. Is anyone having a bit of a glitch? Is anyone going, no, my personal year number is not the same as my first pinnacle? They're both 4, Anne. Right? See, this is weird, right? When this first dawned on me, like at the end of like 3 years ago, 2022, both 3, thank you, Sassy. It was really kind of like spooky to realize that there are times on the planet when we are all in the energy of our first pinnacle. We're all in different years. We're all in a different place in our personal epicycles, but we are all in that first energy of the first pinnacle. Don't you think that's clever of the cosmos to do that? Like at the same time, in the same year, we are all called to do the deep inner soul work. We are all called to do the inner, that hard inner work. Different energies, different archetypes, all called to the same work, our deep inner soul work from previous incarnations. And if you don't believe in past lives, that's fine. Just the inner work from your childhood. So no one's written up that you've had trouble. If anyone is having trouble, let me know. It'll be a great example. I'm happy to work an example. And if you'd like, because I mean, you guys are all astrologers and you know your archetypes, just know it's your nodal axis story. But if you would like, I can give you the URL to. It's only simple. It's about 15 pages or something. It's only simple, but it's a key significations handout I've been creating for the numbers. It's simple introductory just to get you some traction on what do the numbers mean. Would you guys appreciate that? Would you like that? So you can look up some of these numbers. Yeah. Okay. And so I would recommend or encourage you. Thanks, Penny. Okay. So I would encourage you to look up both numbers. So your personal year number is the pinnacle number, but you'll all have a challenge number there too, right? Like I said, that's like looking at astrologically at some sort of hard aspect. Right? A square, an opposition, like there's something here that's really challenging and holding your foot to the flame about this combination that's particularly difficult for you. So even if there was 5 of us on the call right now that have a 1, we're in a 1 personal year and we have a 1 as our first pinnacle, we probably all have a different challenge. Just like an astrological chart is very hard to repeat, a numerological chart is very hard to repeat. A lot of yeses. All right, let me get that. I'm just going to stop the share and I'm going to go and get the URL for that. Let me oh, I don't want that. Let me get that. But don't you find that weird that absolutely every single one of us is in our first pinnacle right now? Like that just strikes me as spooky. and very clever of the cosmos. Oh, my dog is really not happy with something. Yep. So I just got to log into my thingy to get that code for you. The URL for you. Oh, poor Papa. That one. Maybe that one. There. Let me just double check it, make sure it works. It does. All right, here we go. Let me put this into the chat. Okay, so it's not extensive, but it is, like I said, I've been working on this self-paced course, and this is just the simple way to help people get traction before they go into like really extensive training. How do you actually get start with understanding the numbers? So this is just a key significations, and now there's a little bit of extra information in there. You might hear me refer in this to something from the course. Please just ignore that. But hopefully this will be of service to you in just starting to look, starting to play. So when you are looking at the numbers, as I said, I encourage you to look up both your pinnacle number and your challenge number to understand how are they connecting as part of the nodal axis story, the karmic story that you've brought in, the unfinished work. You know how to calculate your birth path number now, so you can also look up the separate numbers. So not just the end number, right? If you're a 27-9, not just the 9, you want to work it with the 2 and the 7 as well. Yeah. Okay. There we go. And if anyone's interested, if you're interested, I know you're astrologers, but if you are interested in the course that I'm about to launch, finally, just let Ben know. I'm happy to pass the details on for that. That'll be sometime this month. That'll be ready to go. Oh, you're welcome, Kathy. You're so welcome.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Juliette.
Oh,
It's been absolutely fascinating.
Has it? It's been so quiet. I don't do well with quiet. I need the chat. I need that conversation. But has it been helpful? That's been interesting. Has it been helpful? Reframing where we're at.
It has for me, certainly. I can say that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really rich.
Juliette.
Yep.
Juliette, you've got 10 Chiron. Your Chiron is a 10 Aries or something.
Yeah.
And you're born somewhere around 3 in the afternoon.
3:20.
Yeah. I haven't got time to calculate because they're quite complex to calculate. I'm not that familiar with those asteroids, but either Sedna or Eris is very close to conjunct your Chiron. So if your Chiron is very
How do you know my date of
significant,
birth? Oh, because I told you my date of birth.
you told us your date of birth. But not only that, it's very easy for me.
Yes, yes.
You're born at the same year my sons are. I have twin
thanks.
sons. So they're born in 1972. So I'm usually in 1972 was 19, you know, kind of like, you know, but the different months, obviously. So it was quite easy for me to, you know, quickly look up your chart. And because you said Karen was at UMC, I knew it was three-ish in the afternoon. But either Sedna or Erin is very close conjunction to Karen. So for sure, 100% guaranteed, it's worth looking at.
Eris is just a couple of degrees from Chiron in my chart. It's like Chiron is on my MC and Eris is just a few degrees into my 10th. And Chiron is like 2 degrees from my Venus. So Venus and Chiron are
yes.
my 10th MC.
Yeah,
but I don't know
just
where
couldn't think
Sedna
about it. I
is.
thought it was Eris, but I wasn't sure. Am I getting it mixed up with Sedna? You know, because they're very long cycles, and they travel very slowly, and you never know. I mean, this is only fairly new stuff for all astrologers, those asteroids.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly it's worth taking notice of that Eris.
Thank you. Yeah, the disruptor energy.
Can be for a productive outcome.
Thank you for looking that up. I appreciate your time on that.
I didn't actually look it up. I just knew your chart.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
No number 0 in your handout, Juliette.
Oh no, because it's all or
A
it's
wild
nothing.
card. Yeah.
So it's the wild card energy. It's like I said, it's like source energy. So it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
It's all and nothing. It's anything your soul wants to pull from it. It is really the wild card energy, the magician energy. Yeah, like I said, I often think of it as Hermione's purse. Like you can pull anything out of that. Whenever your soul needs to do something, it can pull it out. There's usually a lot of growth. And often when we see 0, if strongly placed in a chart, we'll see number 5 or number 11 very strongly placed, because 5 and 11 can bring 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
5 and 11 can bring this chaotic energy with it. And when you have that 0, it often feels very chaotic. And then it's like some people are very comfortable in the chaos and they work very well inside that, and other people really struggle with the chaos. It just depends where we are with the archetype itself. But if you're doing a lot of deep spiritual work, then it's often someone who has a lot of direct access to source energy, so you can pull whatever comes out, like that magician energy in the tarot. But yeah, it can be very intense because you never quite know what's coming. With the rest of us, we kind of have a set challenge. We know what's coming. It just keeps biting us, keeps biting. But when the 0, it can be anything. Yeah. So your soul signed up for that, right? Though.
Mm.
Here we go. There's numbers here. Oh, thank you. I did it, Anne. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, Sassy's saying that Neil Hare, I don't know who he is, sees 0 as Pluto energy. Yeah, that would make sense to me. I can see that. Yeah. Does any so it clarified some things for you. I'm glad, Anne. I'm glad. Yeah. It's very yeah, I just keep feeling that this so what they said, let me just say one more thing for you guys. Oh, geez. I've stopped the share. That's a sucks. Okay, let me open it again. Let me open the share. Do you have time for me to show you one more thing? Or do you want to run?
I think some people may.
If
We've
you
hit
need to
9
go,
o'clock,
please
so
do. But if for those who want to stay, can I share one more thing?
yeah,
Yeah,
go
okay.
for
Okay.
it.
Be very fast. Okay, here we go. So I do that and I do that. Let's see if this works. No, 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 no. No. Sorry, I'm trying to convince my iPad to let me. There we go. So I talked about the fact that once every 9 years we have a 9 universal year. So the entire world as a collective and as individuals, we are being asked to do this deeper work of bringing the subconscious material up to the conscious mind, right? And it's a focal point for all of us. But it's not just every 9 years, right? Every year there will be at least 1 month, sometimes 2 months, where 9 is at the helm universally, as in a 9 universal month. So if you're happy to go a little deeper down the rabbit hole, if we look at, say, next year is 2026. Whoa, that's not going to help us. Okay. Oh, come on. 2026. So 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 6 is 10, comes to 1. So we're in a 1 personal year next year. 1 universal year next year. Okay, so a little bit of math. To calculate the universal month, all we're doing is adding the month number to the universal year number. So if we are in a 1 universal year, what we're going to do is add, say, 1. Oh, how did that happen? Let's say we're going to add 1 for January, because January is the first month. So January equals 1. Yeah. So we're going to add 1, and that will give us a 2 universal month. And so then say, for example, it was the 6th of January. So we're looking at 6 for the 6th. We're adding it on. 2 plus 6 is 8 universal day. So you can work out the universal year, month, day. So next year, let's get rid of that, get rid of that. Next year in August, August is the 8th month. Oops. One for the year plus 8 for August is a 9 universal month. So next year in August, again, everyone on the planet, including you and your loved ones, your family, your clients, will be inside their first pinnacle for the entire month. So this emphasis on our first pinnacle, on our childhood experience, on what happened when we were young teenagers, on our past life stories, our karmic history that we're bringing in through the nodal axis. In the 8th month, August, it will be a 9 universal month for everyone. So you're more likely to see these storylines coming up. Family stuff, childhood stuff, home stuff, past life stuff, whatever your nodal story is about will come up inside August next year. Is that making sense? Yeah. So if we went to say 2000, I don't know, let's jump a few. Let's go to 2029. Okay, so 2029, we say 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 9 is 13, 13, 4. So we will be in a 4 universal year in 2029. What month is 5? May, right? So we would say 5 for May. 4 plus 5 is a 9 universal month. So inside 2029, a 4 universal year, 5 energy is May. We'd say 4 plus 5 is 9. So in May, we will be inside a 9 month again. So there will always be at least 1 month, sometimes 2 months, depending on what year we're in, where we will have a 9 universal month. But this year is particularly important because we've just been through September in a 9 year. 9 plus 9 for September is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. We've just been through a double whammy. So whatever your personal year number is this year, so for me, I was in a 1 personal year and a 1 personal month, right? Really amplifying that energy of my karmic story. Whatever your personal year is this year, you've just been in a double whammy of that through September. So there's double amplification, and the world, all the stuff that's happened in the world in the last month, right? Because we've doubled down on this 9 universal month, 9 universal year energy. So the 9 universal years are the big ones, but every single year there will be at least 1 month, if not 2. Like say in a 7 universal year, February and November, they're both 2 months. So in a 7 universal year, February and November will both be 9 universal months, for example. Right? So while it's once a year, every epicycle that we have an entire year devoted to it, every single year there will be the opportunity to touch back into this work, our soul work. Is that making sense? I'm going to stop the share there, but is that making sense? How to calculate that? Yep. Okay, that's good. Okay. All right. Is it the same with the day? Yeah. There can be a 9 universal day. Absolutely. So if you were in, so the example I just gave of a 4 universal year, in May, it will be a 9 universal month. Then in May, which is the 9 universal month, you would go to the 9th, the 18th, and the 27th, right? Because that will lead you to the 9 day of the 9 month. Because 18, 1 plus 8 is 9, 27th, 2 plus 7 is 9. Whatever you add to 9 comes back to itself. So if you're in a 9 month and you add the 9, the 18, or the 27, you come to a 9 day of a 9 month. So in the month we've just had, the 9th of September, the 18th of September, and the 27th of September were particularly potent days because we were tripling down on the energy. the same day, the same month, the same year, all combining together. So yes, and absolutely. And you can do that. What I've just shown you to do it as a universal, you can do that with your personal. Yeah, personal year number, add the month. There's your personal month number, add the day. There's your personal day number. But it always starts with the year, then the month, then the day. It has to go in that order or it won't work. Has to go in that order. Year, month, day. Yeah. If anyone has a question about that, please let me know. But you can re-watch the video, or as I said, Ben, I'm more than happy for you to hand out my contact details if someone would like to reach out. Actually, I'll just put my email in the chat if anyone would like to clarify something there. Is that all right for me to do that? Are you okay?
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Yeah.
Just better check before I do that. There we go. Check the spelling. Yep, I think that's right. There we go. There's my email. If anyone is having like a question about what did I just do, more than happy for you to reach out.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Juliette.
So welcome.
Wonderful. Always wonderful to have you speaking with us here and being so generous with your sharing as always. So yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you for making the time.
Yeah, you're welcome. I do hope it was helpful. I do hope it helped to reframe or make sense of what the world is going through at the moment. And, because we are really the people that have that lens to offer for the people around
Absolutely.
us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for those that are still online here, just to reiterate what Cheryl said, so next month we're going to be meeting in person at the Sydney Mechanics School. AGM will be at 6 o'clock, and then the lecture, as usual, will start at 7 o'clock. And that's going to be Greg doing a zooming in, so we'll be watching him on the screen. And if anyone can join us, we would love to see you there. And afterwards, we'll go for drinks at the pub. So Juliette, that includes you if you can make it down. I know it's a bit of a trek, but we'd love to see you if ever it was possible.
I didn't know you guys were meeting in person. It's very exciting. So
Yeah.
I very rarely leave the mountain, but that would be actually worth leaving the mountain for. So
Yeah, great. Wonderful. Well, please do. Please come and join us.
thank you.
So Juliette,
Yes.
I'm just on your site on the internet at the moment, and I'm sending you my email address because I'd like to post you something because I do numerology